number 2 between Liquid Nazgul and our Terran player here. Actually, that threw me off a little bit because apparently TheLittleOne does play random, which was mentioned by Husky before, and I was expecting him to play Zerg, but he is Terran this time, so that was a bit of a throw-off. And now the question is Liquid Nazgul going to be prepared? It must have thrown him off his game, knowing that, first he lost the first round, and now he's going to be playing against a random race, so he's not solid on his opening build order. Until he knows what the enemy race is. One thing I do want to mention, it is Metropolis, which is traditionally a map for 2v2 or free-for-all, and so it's interesting that the TeamLiquid Invitational chose to use this map for their 1v1 pool, and I'm going to go ahead and let Husky take over because I'm talking too much.
Hey guys, what is going on? Yes, as he said, it is going to be a 4-player map. This is actually my favorite 4-player map just because of all the doodads, which I mention all the time on my channel instead of actually talking about the game. But like HD said, it is going to be Terran this time, which anyone who can get to the round of 4 in a tournament with such top-tier players like Wyra and stuff like that is pretty much my hero as random. And so it does look like Liquid Nazgul is going to scout him right now. He is, since they are at cross positions, you almost always scout them right away, and he is going to be able to scout inside the base before that second supply depot gets down. At least I think that broke in there. There we go. So, HD, what do you think? You think Liquid Nazgul is going to be able to do at least a little bit better than he did in game number 1?
I do think so, yes, because this time Liquid Nazgul, he does have the early scout in. He knows exactly what's going on inside of the Terran player's base. And on top of that, they are cross positions from each other, so he should be a little bit less vulnerable to some kind of an early attack like we saw last game, which ended in less than 10 minutes. So hopefully we're going to be in store for a nice long game.
I'm kind of curious to see what build TheLittleOne goes. He is getting his orbital command right at around 16, which that's pretty standard. And it's just kind of cool to see someone be able to know all the basic build orders for every race. I mean, the game hasn't been out that long, and so to be able to master those, like, he was macroing like crazy with Zerg, and so I'm kind of curious to see how good he's going to be with Terran, and if he's going to go kind of what I would consider standard, getting 3 barracks, and then slowly teching towards the medvacs. I'm just kind of curious to see if he'll do that. But Liquid Nazgul, I feel kind of bad because game number 1 was so short, but we'll see how he fares off in this second game.
One thing we do see is a tech lab coming out right away on the racks, and there is a Marauder coming out of the tech lab, so we could be expecting a bionic build from the Terran player. And I've got to say that M&M, Medic Marine, and Medevac Marine and Marauder is
quite the mouthful.
Yes, it is quite the most powerful build as well for Terran players in almost every matchup, and it is their bread and butter, really. Look at that probe going down to 2 shots. And yes, there is one more racks going up, and I would expect a third one coming up soon as well.
Yeah, if you guys are playing Terran, like if you're a newer Terran player in the beta, just kind of watch this game, see exactly what it is that they're doing, because like HD said, the Marine Marauder Medvac is the build you're going to see in just about every Terran game. I mean, if you're learning Terran, just go that build against everyone, and you'll be a pretty decent player just based off of that. So I think we're going to see something very similar. The second gas finishing fairly early here, but I think that's because he did get his... Whoa, he's actually researching nitro packs for his Reapers. I just caught a glimpse of that as he's finishing a Reaper right now. So we may actually see some early harassment here. This is pretty sweet. And what is this Marauder doing? He's just like booking it out across the entire map by himself.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that too. This Marauder is coming out of the wet work. Perhaps what TheLittleOne wants to do is kind of show to Liquid Nazgul, look, I'm going for Marauder build right here, and then kind of come in through the back door with some Reapers. It could be interesting to see if that is his plan indeed. The Marauder is going to run away from the Sentry. Surprisingly, the Sentry actually does a lot of damage, as Husky would be probably really proud to tell you.
Yeah, the Sentries, they are supposed to be just support units. Like, that's supposed to be, I think that's pretty much their description. But they, I don't know, man, just how they're programmed right now, they do a lot of damage, and the Stalker and Zealot get caught whiff of that Marauder, and they're gonna try and hunt him down. I don't know if the Stalkers can actually catch up to the Marauders, although just standing there is not gonna help that at all. But a cool thing about Stalkers is that you can just right-click them on an enemy unit, and they will chase it and shoot automatically if they can catch up. We didn't see that right now, though, as the Warp Gate technology is done. And I don't know about these Reapers. Do you think they're going to be able to do that much right now?
Well, the key thing is, right now, the Protoss player, Liquid Nazgul, does have the majority of his forces out on the field, and these Reapers are gonna get caught by the Stalkers, so Liquid Nazgul knows what's going on. The Protoss player needs to pull his forces back, and right now his probe line under attack. We're gonna take a look at the units lost tab right now. 2 units, 3 units lost, 6 units lost for the Protoss player. That means 6 probes have gone down, and the probes continuing to be raided by these Reapers. And I've got to say, 10 probes going down and a force field going down there. A bit strange, perhaps trying to catch the Reapers in transit. But I would say those Reapers paid off for themselves right there, killing off 10 probes, which means he does have to rebuild those probes.
Yeah, one of the Reapers I had targeted actually had 5 kills alone, and like you said, we're up to about 12 kills now. And
13.
he just enough, yeah, down to, or up to 13 now, and he used just enough Reapers to be able to one-shot those probes. That was good micro there, able to do an early raid on the economy of Liquid Nazgul, so that is going to set him behind a great deal. I mean, if we look at the income right now, TheLittleOne must have summoned up a bunch of his mules because his income is double that of Liquid Nazgul's, and on top of that, he lost those probes. And so I think he's going to try and make something happen right now to try and make up for it, but Protoss don't have an early harassment unit like that, so he may just have to kind of, you know, lick his wounds and deal with that early harassment, but it does look like he's going to move in right now as the expansion is going to start going down right now.
I think right now that TheLittleOne might be in a bit of trouble. This is a pretty strong Protoss force, I've got to say. On top of that, TheLittleOne was forced to build a command center, so he's down 400 minerals. Look at these force fields, too. Great force field positioning, not allowing those Marauders to retreat. But at the same time, now the Protoss forces can't make their way up the ramp. Here they go, though, the force field wearing off, and another artificial wall coming out from under the ground, the supply depot as well. Siege tank also coming out of the factories, but no siege tech ready yet. And like I said, I think the Terran player was in trouble because he spent 400 minerals on this command center, and the Liquid Nazgul, just kind of knowing that the enemy player expanded, just kind of moved in, and now he's forced the command center to lift off and float back.
Yeah, the control here was actually perfect by Liquid Nazgul because he had the advantage in the units, but he would have been at a disadvantage did any of those units actually make it into those bunkers. But if you guys go back and re-watch that little section, he basically blocked off that entire army with those force fields absolutely perfect, and the Zealots also making a wall to block him, and he's even doing it again right here, preventing most of the Marauders from getting down there and being able to pick off a couple of the stray ones. But again, he may have just stayed there a little bit too long, as this Zealot has no hope of making it back home to all of his friends. He is definitely going to get taken out because the Marauders do slow light units like that. And, oh wait, maybe he will make it back. Maybe I'm just a big jerk. Yeah, I guess he will. So, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but Immortals are on the way, and again, Liquid Nazgul did quite a bit of damage there, but looking at the units lost, the cost for both players is about the same, but really, when you lose the probes, you lose a lot more than these numbers will actually show.
Yeah, and Immortals, for Husky, they are the ultimate counter to the Marauder, are they not?
They are very strong against Marauders. Yeah, they don't do as much damage versus the Roaches as they do against Roaches, rather, but they are very good against the Marauders. What you have to be careful with the Immortals is the lighter units, like even the Reapers and the Marines. They're the ones who really kind of just plow through the shields of the Immortals. Speaking
of Reapers, there's 3 more actually coming into the play right here, and they might try to hop. They're not going to be able to hop into the main base from that position, though.
But yeah, those jetpacks aren't nearly that powerful, but I think he's just regrouping his army. And look at this, running right into the Stalkers. So Liquid Nazgul not going to fall for this trick twice, and even an Immortal spawning over here. So this harassment is blocked off by that Immortal. Those Reapers were actually stuck on top of that Immortal, so he kind of regained a little ground there as the Reapers aren't cheap. I mean, 50 minerals, 50 gas, that stuff starts to add up if you lose that many. So it looks like Liquid Nazgul going to kind of redeem himself just a little bit there for a couple of minutes at least.
Yeah, and I think right now we might be approaching the mid-game as the harassment has sort of died down. The Terran player has now kind of bunkered in with 2 bunkers at his natural expansion, as well as 2 siege tanks. That Observer going down there. And Observers now, if you guys didn't know, have had their costs increased to, I think, 100 minerals, 100 gas. At least it is 100 gas, so that is kind of a hefty loss there. Because, of course, gas is the most valuable resource during the mid-game. And here
he's actually putting a starport as